Celebrating what?
It's tea time.
It is tea time.
Let's rant about stuff.
Hi guys, welcome back to V Vlog. So, like Ty said, today is gonna be kind of a rant video. And if you don't like those types of videos, please don't watch, because what I'm gonna talk about is such a small, insignificant issue in comparison to what's happening in the rest of the world. We're just like really hurt and upset by it, but it's definitely not the biggest deal in the grand scheme of things. So if you want to hear a little rant about something that doesn't really matter that much, stick around. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next vlog. I just feel like we always like see comments like when we do stuff like, it's not that big of a deal. It's really not.
We know that.
Yeah, we know that. I feel like I'm
that.
shaking this around so much.
But this is all about, giving our point of view on some things, and there's a little bit of entertainment to be found in that, I think, especially as somebody from the outside looking in. But not for us though. It was not fun.
But we also like want to hear your opinion, because like sometimes I think I'm crazy or like I'm the one in the wrong and like maybe I need a reality check. I don't know. But I really hope you guys can like agree with what we're about to say, but we'll get into the story. Do you want to pull up, or are you just gonna sit?
I'm just gonna stand here and just loom over you like a vulture.
Okay, so I had to give you kind of a backstory before I tell you the main story. So over the past like 2 months, literally like the beginning of summer. Are you okay?
I said I'm looming over you like a vulture.
Okay, that's pretty close.
I know. Vultures can get pretty close.
Very, very close.
If they get this close though, you're probably in like some semblance of a little bit of danger.
It's gonna be quite distracting if you stay there.
Thing is, my head's about as pink as that of a vulture, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's quite pink.
It is. I'll go back.
Okay, so a couple months ago, I started getting my Halloween costumes ready, which I usually do because I'm so excited for Halloween every single year. But over the past few years, especially in the pandemic, like I was taking photographs in my costumes just around the house, whether it was in the studio or in the backyard. And I really wanted to like amp it up again, because Halloween is my favorite time of year, you guys know that. And I really wanted to do something with my costumes this year that was just like different and like way cooler than anything I'd done before. So I went onto Google and I looked up different like photo studios around Toronto, and I really wanted to like find a place that the inside was like different and like creative that could like go with my costumes. So I found this one place. We're not gonna mention their name because I think that's like unfair. We obviously have a lot of followers and we don't want to send like hate their way, but it is like a Toronto photo studio, and they had like art installations. I won't get specific, but the installations they had in their studios really meshed up with the costumes that I wanted to do. So I bought my costumes around those specific rooms, if that makes sense. And like I put a lot of effort into it. I was so excited. I think I had like 3 different costumes, and I went like full out, like makeup, hair accessories, shoes, like every part of a costume that I really like wanted to wear. Anyway, so I knew this date was coming up. I was like nervous and excited. I had Ty, he was gonna be my photographer.
That was your first mistake right there.
No, he's been taking like all of my Instagram photos and like they've been pretty good.
Well, I just go over quantity over quality.
Yeah.
Because if I take 500 photos,
there's always one in there.
There's always at least one in there.
Yeah, he takes photos like this, just like constantly pressing the button, which I don't mind because then I just go through and like the ones that I like. Anyway, so I got a confirmation email from this photo studio, and it gave like all the instructions of how to get there and stuff. And then there was this specific part that talked about parking, and they said that there was a lot of visitor parking available in front of the studio, and if those happened to be taken, they had 2 specific spots for their studio. What is it called? Like reserved spots you could park in and then go inside and get a parking pass to put on your car. So I was like, cool, because Ty doesn't like driving in Toronto. So the second I was
no
like,
one likes driving in Toronto.
Well, some people
are
crazy.
Yes.
The second I told Ty that, he was so relieved because we had a place to park. Because finding parking in Toronto is a mission and a half. So we were excited. And plus, like with photo studios, a lot of people, not us, but a lot of people bring like equipment, right? Like all of their lighting and like a lot of heavy stuff. So it makes sense for a photo studio to make sure you have parking when you're paying for like your slot time, right? Because there's a lot of heavy equipment. We did have a lot of stuff with us. Like I spent like 5 hours before this day to like pack all my stuff. We had like dress bags, I had all my costumes in there, I packed my makeup bag, we had like shoe bags, we brought a steamer,
all that stuff.
a steamer, I like bought these giant wings, like we had like a lot of stuff to carry. So we were like, cool, we have a parking space, all good. So the day of, which is yesterday, we wake up bright and early. Wake up at like 8 a.m., which is early for us. And I do my makeup, I do my hair, I'm getting all ready, we get the dog settled, we pack the car, and then we head on our way. We get there 15 minutes early because we paid for a slot and we wanted to make sure we were there for the whole slot because it's $200, which is like a lot for like a short like slot to take a bunch of photos. So we got there 15 minutes early. And what do? We head to the parking lot, which there's supposed to be parking spots there. We drive in, we're looking around, all the visitor parking is taken, like it's all full. So we're like, okay, that's fine because we have 2 reserved spots that we can park in. So we're like driving through, we don't see any of these reserved spots. We see like names for other companies everywhere, but we don't see ours. So we're like, okay, I guess we're just gonna have to like try and find some street parking or like paid parking around. The area that we were in is really difficult because it's residential. So every single house on the street has like a car in front of it because they don't have driveways. So we went down like 3 different streets for like half a kilometer each way, and there was no spots, like they were all taken. So then we're like, okay, maybe there's like paid parking. We go to where the paid parking was and there's a construction zone now. So all of the parking spots had been completely like plowed over. There was just dirt. And then we found this very tiny little paid parking lot that was still like a 5-minute walk from the studio. We paid.
$20.
It was $20, poor Ty, he paid. We go in, there's no spots. We were so frustrated at this point. It was like half an hour through our paid slot time, and I was frustrated because we had so much to like film and take photos of, and we had lost half of our time. So this is where things get a little dramatic because I have a lot of anxiety. And like when I'm excited for something and I get my hopes up and I plan for things, like I want to do it, you know? We were there early, I was so like psyched about it. And as I was watching our time like going down, like we were driving around for 45 minutes, I was getting really panicky, I was like distressed, like I was on the verge of tears, right? So I call the front desk really hoping that they would have some resolution or would be able to help. And the lady picks up and I was like, hi, like this is Jessica. I had my slot time at 11. The reason why we're late is because we've been driving around for 45 minutes trying to find parking. I explained to her that in the email they said there'd be visitor parking, they said there'd be reserved spots, and I said they're not there. And I said we tried the street parking, we tried paid parking. I like gave her everything we had just gone through, right? My voice is shaking, I'm like stuttering, like I'm just really nervous. I have a lot of anxiety. And so her response to that is, well, if there's no parking, there's nothing we can do about it. And so of course, like that's the most frustrating. It wasn't even like, I'm so sorry, let's see if we can get you a spot, or I'll meet you outside in the front and I'll see if I can flag you down and help you. Like there was no sort of resolution. It was a very quick, short answer, like, well, that's not our problem. She didn't say that, but like, that's how it comes across. So of course I'm upset, and so I say, okay, well, if there's no parking, we can't come for our slot. So I was like, can we please have a refund then? And she said, no, if we're not coming, it's gonna count as a same-day cancellation, and that's like a no refund policy. So I was like, but how is that my fault? Like, you guys said you would have parking, you don't, we've been driving around, I'm like anxious and distressed, and like we can't be refunded? And she was like, nope, same-day cancellation, but you have until so-and-so time to get to the studio, which was like the end of our slot. So she was basically saying like, if you're not here, like that's too bad. So I just said, okay, thanks, and I hung up very abruptly. I was shaking, I was like really nervous and anxious, and like, so I turned to Ty and I'm like, I guess we're just going home then. And I was so defeated because it took us 2 hours to get there. We had to drive 2 hours back. Had all the stuff packed, like it was awful. So I really felt like they didn't care at all and didn't want to do a resolution. So in my very anxious, upset like state, I went on to their Google business and I gave them a 1 star, which I never do. I think the last time I reviewed someone 1 star was 4 years ago when we went to a restaurant. I think we've told this story on here, and I cannot have tomatoes. Like, they really gross me out. This is like a whole other story time. Anyway, we went there and I asked for no tomatoes and they gave me like a thing with tomatoes on it. So I was like very kindly, oh, so sorry. It looks like there's tomatoes on it. Do you mind if you remove them? He takes it back, brings the plate back. There's still tomatoes on it. And I was like, sir, like, there's still tomatoes on it. He's like, oh, sorry. Takes it back to the kitchen, brings it back a 3rd time. There's still tomatoes on it. So then we just left the restaurant and I gave it a 1 star. A week later, I felt bad and removed the star. That's just how my brain works, okay? So that was 4 years ago. I don't even review companies, right? But I was so hurt by these people and my hopes were just like crushed that I went on and I put an honest review. It was respectful. I talked about what we had gone through. I talked about how this company guaranteed parking and they didn't. And I just said for the price you pay, like parking should be guaranteed, especially with all the equipment and like costumes and stuff that people have. Very respectful, right? I get an email from this company telling me that I was extremely rude to the staff member. And this staff member is extremely hurt by it. And they told me that if I removed my 1 star review, they would refund me. So we're getting ultimatums here, but it's like very manipulative. Like they're only gonna refund our money for their bad if I take down the 1 star review. So then I looked at Ty and I'm like, do we want people to know what this company is all about or do we want our money back, you know? So I really thought about it and I replied to them and I was saying, you know, if we were able to have a respectful conversation about things, you guys apologized, tried to make it right, I would 100% take down that review. You know, I'm all about resolution. I'm all about making up and making things better. But the email they sent felt very like they were attacking me and saying that I was like being rude to their staff member, which I was not. Like Ty was sitting right beside me, you know?
I'm unfortunately very blunt.
Yes.
If Jessie's being rude, I will tell her full out. I'll say that was harsh.
The conversation was literally 20 seconds I had over the phone and it was me saying, there's no parking, what do we do? And her shutting me down. Like that's literally all it was. If anything, she was being awful. So I got back to them. I said that I was like, I would have taken it down if we could have like a respectful conversation, but I feel like you're still coming at me. The other thing they said was that, oh, the staff member you spoke to said that she offered to give you more studio time if you finally found parking. She said she would extend it for you. I was reading this to Ty and we were both shaking our heads like she never offered that. So already this woman I spoke to on the phone is lying to her superiors, saying that I was rude, probably to cover her back for the 1 star review. So anyways, I get back to these people and I say, and by the way, she never offered to give us more time. If you happen to record your phone calls, please listen to it. So they do listen to the phone call and she gets back to me and she was like, okay, so we fully listened to the call and you're right. She never offered to give you more time, but she would have, but she was too flustered by the tone of your voice. The tone of my voice, anxiety induced, shaking, on the verge of tears. I was so embarrassed about the phone call because I was literally like stuttering with tears talking to this lady. I was just stunned. And they said once again, if you take down your review, we'll refund you. So the review is up. I'm not taking it down. I feel like after having these email interactions with these people, it just shows me how unkind they are. And I want people to know. Obviously, I'm not gonna talk about what studio it is on here, but anyone who is looking at that specific studio will see, hey, there's no parking, just so you know. And these people don't really have good customer service. So that's basically my rant. You know, I feel like the whole time I did the right thing. I was always respectful, I was always kind, I always carried myself in a good way. I was just having a lot of anxiety and people, I feel like that intimidates people. When they hear someone that's clearly like nervous and like shaky on the phone, they don't know how to handle that. I don't know if you want to add anything to it, but...
The only thing I'm gonna add is on the way home, just we didn't eat breakfast. We were out of the house pretty much the instant we woke up. We had ourselves some pita pit on the way.
Yeah, we had pita pit.
Or as I call it, pity pit. When you're feeling sad, it's pity pit.
Yeah, I'm so upset because you guys will never see like the ideas that I had, like the project that I was doing for this. Like I can probably still do one of the costumes, but it's gonna have to be a photo shoot like in my house or backyard or something. But the other two, it's just impossible without this studio.
We can just start trekking the wilderness to see if we can find a place, maybe.
Yeah, go through the forest or something.
Yeah, we're gonna go on an adventure. Find a mountain, maybe.
Anyway, Yeah, it was just a sucky day, but obviously in the grand scheme of things, like I said, it's just a bad day. And that's it, you know, after today, I'm gonna try and forget about it and move on, and people are just like that sometimes, I guess, but that is my rant, that is my story time. You can let me know what you think. I think we did the right thing. I really do. I don't have any regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. Just before we end the video, again, we don't condone any hate or bullying or sending anything negative their way. I know you guys sometimes are like detectives and can figure things out. We're not making this video for that reason. We're just making it to express ourselves. It's a vlog channel, it's a lifestyle channel. This is what happened in our lives, but don't send any hate, please. Thanks, guys. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and hopefully our next vlog is a lot more positive than this one.